Hey everybody, it's episode 62 and it's movie night where we take something from the movies and we make it. Or we try to. Or we fake it till we make it. Something like that. And tonight is leave the gun, take the cannoli. Which is really good advice. I looked it up. I'm like, why do you leave the gun and take the cannoli? I'm a sucker for anything in a pastry box, so I get why they take the cannoli. But I didn't know that you leave the gun with every murder so that you don't get connected to that one on your next murder. I'm all for, multitasking, but they're like, no, one gun per customer.
Don't mess around with this.
And by customer, they mean the one lying down.
And so the one thing I thought about the take the cannoli is here's the scary mobster that just totally bloodbathed this guy. Still a little nervous about his wife. Better bring the cannoli home.
Yeah. So who do we really fear is the question. Yeah. Who do we really fear? Who's really running the show? Let's not forget that. Anyway, cannoli has two parts to it. There's this dough that we're going to roll out, and then there's the ricotta filling. And everything seems to need to rest in various parts. Like the dough needs to rest. The ricotta has to sit in a little strainer and drain out its excess liquid.
So you just bought ricotta in the store and then drained it?
Yes, and this one seemed to be really firm and dry versus some that were more soupy. You'll be able to tell when you scoop it out how much time you're going to need. This has sat here for over an hour and there's barely a teaspoon of liquid in there. But just to show you.
Nobody likes a wet cannoli.
Exactly. No one wants a soggy shell. So there it is. So we're going to set this aside so we have some room to work. We're going to do the filling after we roll out, make our dough. Then that's going to rest in the fridge.
And we're going to have a beer. What are we drinking?
We're having a Two-Hearted in a Lagunitas glass. Argue that one out, boys. I'm not
I
going to
don't even know who to tag in the video.
I don't even know how to tag that. I'm just going to drink it instead.
Just enjoy.
Okay. The cannoli shell. 2 cups of flour. I have my recipe here because it's too much crap to remember. Boom. 1 tablespoon and 2 teaspoons of butter. Who measures stuff out like that? I don't know, but it's just a little bit less than 2 tablespoons. You cube it up in little pieces and you put it in a dish, and that way it gets softer faster and it'll distribute through the flour better. 1 tablespoon of sugar. It's more than a tablespoon because Mama likes sugar. In there it goes.
And I like a sweet cannoli.
Yeah. Pinch of salt. Maybe another pinch of salt. Gonna mix up our dry stuff before we put in the butter. We're also putting in an egg yolk, just the egg yolk, and the cube butter. And are we doing that now? We're doing that now. And a half a cup of dry white wine. You can use a Marsala wine, which is actually a really sweet wine. And that's tradition, but not many people have Marsala wine in their cupboard. A regular dry white wine, I'm using the Chardonnay, will do just fine.
I kind of feel like it's evened out because you put a little extra sugar in there.
Yeah. The butter goes in before the wine, and we're going to distribute it with our hands. What you do when you make a pastry crust, pie crust.
Here comes the pastry chef in your heart.
You want to mush it up with the flour and get it as evenly as distributed as you can. It's not a whole lot of butter to flour, so it will feel like it was enough butter. But in the end, it's enough butter. Almost there.
I imagine that's a satisfying
I love
getting
this
your
part.
fingers in the flour and the butter.
This was always my favorite part of making biscuits. Now, I'm actually looking at my oil over here because these are fried in a pot. And I have a candy thermometer in there, and it's going to go up to 360. You want to increase your oil temperature slowly. So I had this going before we started filming so that it would creep up slow and I'd have better control of the heat.
And what kind of oil do you have in there?
Just canola oil.
Okay.
Very
and how
clean.
deep is it?
It is about 1.5 to 2 inches.
Okay.
Yeah. It's about a quart plus some of canola oil.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how big the pot is, right? I'll do a close up when you fry the thing.
Okay. I'm going to throw in our egg yolk and our cup of wine, or half a cup. take a fork. Just start mixing it in. It's going to be a stiff dough. We're going to wrap it in plastic and let it hang out in the refrigerator for the time it takes for us to make the filling, which is going to be like 30 minutes or so. You can make it a day ahead. I'm going back in with the hands because the fork's not cutting it.
Sing to it, baby.
Make me a cannoli.
It's been a while since I've seen all of the Godfathers. When I was a girl in New York, there was a movie theater on 96th Street in Broadway called the Thalia. And once a year, they used to start at 7 a.m. And it took 2 days to watch all of the Godfathers films.
That would be very cool. I saw a litany of films that were very important in the whole film world way before I was old enough to see them. And the Godfather films, thanks to babysitters, that was one that I was way too young to see when I saw them. Jaws was another one. Didn't take a bath for like 2 years after that. I'm going to add a little bit more wine in this because this is still super dry. And
Okay.
who doesn't like wine? I'm going to the fridge. Be right there.
All right. We're just going to listen to the oil bubble.
Oil in trouble.
Bubble, bubble.
But I
Hello, wine.
am going to be very careful in how much I add.
You don't want to go crazy.
Because then I'm just going to have to add a whole bunch of flour and all the other things. And I just want to make cannoli. Boop. Boop. Okay. Yeah, so I would like to see the whole director's cut one where they take all of the flashbacks and they put them all in order so you don't see any flashbacks. That would be interesting.
I don't know if they do this anymore, but one of the things I really loved about the advent of DVDs was the director's commentary.
Yeah.
And they just, you know, with downloadable films, like they just don't do that anymore. And I kind of felt like at the beginning of DVDs, with the director's commentary for films like The Godfather or any of the Wes Anderson films, like I felt like I went to film school. And I hope we didn't like lose that to like the mists of time.
I just read a biography from Martin Sheen that talked about Apocalypse Now, the shooting of Apocalypse Now, which made us look it up and watch it again. Another one that I saw way too young. Don't do that to kids. Just don't do it. I have nightmares still.
Don't get out of the boat. A tiger! A tiger!
Yeah, it was too much. Too much.
Did you ever see the documentary on that? There was a documentary.
No, but Martin Sheen talking about all the stories of what was happening.
It was crazy.
Yeah, was nuts enough.
Yeah.
And it made me want to go out and watch it again, so we did, and it was great.
I forget the name of the documentary, but that was wild.
This is pretty much, this shaggy dough is look like what we're going for.
Can I get a little close to that so that we
Yeah.
can see what? Okay, so it's not like wet.
Not wet.
But it shouldn't be crumbly.
Yeah, and you can stick it kind of
I think
together.
shaggy is an interesting name, an interesting word.
And yeah, it's actually a term in making pastry dough.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And bread dough. We're gonna wrap this in plastic nice and tight in a nice flat disc that'll help it chill faster, and put it in the fridge while we make the cannoli filling. See you in a minute. Okay, dough's resting in the fridge. We have the oil at about the right temperature.
What's the right temperature?
360.
And can you use any kind of temperature gauge for that?
Well, candy thermometers are the best because they go very high. You need to go to at least 400 degrees so that the end doesn't shoot off if your oil gets away from you.
Gotcha.
And these have nice little clippy things for the side of the pot, whatever pot you're using. We're gonna make our filling now. The ricotta cheese that was sitting in the strainer basket, I have flipped into this bowl, and it'll like let go of like 2 tablespoons of water total. Not a lot, but that was that particular brand. 2 cups of ricotta cheese, 3/4 cups of powdered sugar, which I pre-measured right there, going into that bowl.
Oh, and you just dump that on top of the ricotta?
Yeah, because this can just get mixed together with a spoon.
I always forget that sugar is wet.
Yeah.
A wet ingredient.
Yep.
I guess that's the word I was looking
And we are making the ricotta cream filling for.
So you always want to use powdered sugar for this because is it lighter?
It's lighter. It's going to dissolve really instantly. Granulated sugar is going to be heavier and could retain its texture. When you are adding sugar to whipped cream, you always add powdered sugar because it'll keep everything light and airy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And we are going to whip a little bit of heavy cream. It's just a 1/4 cup. I'm going to whip it in this bowl with a whisk because I'm not breaking out the mixer just for that. So, flavoring this guy. A lot of recipes will call for cinnamon and allspice. Various cinnamon and allspice are the traditional Italian spices, and totally love that, but I'm not a huge fan of cinnamon. I'm going to go with this one with just nutmeg because we're going to add the chocolate chips and a little bit of lemon zest also. So, got my little nutmeg.
I would have thought vanilla was in it. I guess not.
I haven't searched a few recipes. Like I said, it depends on a lot of family recipes. This is the first one I'm putting lemon zest into, actually. I did do that.
Lemon zest makes sense to me, I guess. It always kind of brightens up that creamy undertone.
Yeah. So, now we're going to do a little bit of lemon zest. Don't zest the stickers. Not delicious.
Not
I'm
delicious.
gonna peel those undelicious.
They stick to your
stickers off.
teeth.
Yeah, don't they? Got a little barcode. Got a little barcode right there.
Do you know approximately how much you're doing?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be like what, a 1/4 teaspoon? I mean,
Okay.
it is literally
Just a wee.
Yeah, just a touch. Keep it light, and then I can smell it. It smells amazing. If you want more, put in more. Okay, before we add the chocolate chips, I'm gonna whip up this heavy cream in this bowl, and we're not gonna do that on camera either because it makes a terrible noise. So I will see you in a minute. Okay, I whipped the whipped cream by hand, and I'm kind of regretting it, but it was fine.
You got a little red in the face.
A little bit.
There were some muscles involved.
Now we're gonna fold
Interesting.
in with our ricotta.
Folding sounds fancy.
It is. What it means is don't beat the air out of the stuff you just spent whipping. Dashi's licking up all the drops of whipped cream
That's what that noise is.
that spilled over here.
She knows good thing.
Yeah. Just folding, folding, folding. We're also going to fold in most of our chocolate chips. I like covering the ends of cannoli with the chocolate chips that you might have seen in shops. So I'm
But
not
you
going to
put
fold
a
them
few
all in.
in the middle too.
Yeah, so it'll be in the filling that will go throughout the cannoli, but it'll also be just on the ends. And we have a nice light filling. Okay. I just took regular sized chocolate chips and crushed them with a knife, cut them in, little tinier pieces. Mostly, didn't get them all. I just like them to be different sizes. Save those for the ends. Dashi, that's enough. She's now licking my shorts. That's why I had to stop her. That's a different show.
Oh, Dashi.
Okay, now this has got to go in the cooler and rest. Everything
Okay.
takes a nap on this show. Everything,
Including me. That's what I go and do between takes.
but not me. I don't need a nap. I'm gonna switch this out. I'm gonna get our dough back out and clean this stuff up. We're ready to roll out. See you in a minute. Okay, we are back. The filling is chilling in the cooler. I got the dough back out. It's pretty much ready to go. I have a little bit of bench flour to roll this out on with my rolling pin. I have my oil just about 360 degrees. Got to keep on turning it up, turning it down a little bit, nursing it along. We're gonna start rolling this out. We want to go as thin as you can possibly roll it out. It's 1/8 to a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch.
You're talking about the dough?
Yeah, it's when you think it's thin enough, go a little bit thinner. this on the counter behind me. Stay nice and cool. First thing I do when I tap dough and bench flour is I kind of coat the whole thing in the bench flour in case it hits a dry spot on the board. Put that over, there, get my pin, and just start rolling it out.
Rolling.
Move it and flip it so you can see if there's any sticky spots that are going to start to stick to your board. That's not fun.
I imagine that ruins the dough, right?
It makes a mess. You want it to move around freely so that it's easier to deal with.
How many cannolis will you make out of this?
No idea. We are in this together. And I'm also going to try some experimental shapes. Like, say this is a cannoli tube for frying, like that. Maybe you don't have these. If you don't have those, let's see if we can just fry up some squares or some little circles and see if we can just pipe a little cannoli and make little crudité, little one-bite appetizers.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, right? I'm all about
Cannoli
trying to make...
crudité. What the hell?
I just said those words all together.
It's going to take me a long time to get over that.
Little appetizers, little one
I
bites.
love that idea. Because I do love the cream filling, and I feel like you can use that ricotta filling to do all sorts of things.
Right. Getting pretty close.
Yeah, it looks like it's getting thin.
And what I want to do is roll it out and get it to stop retracting.
Why?
Well, because when it retracts, it becomes thicker again.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That makes total sense.
See?
I just thought it was a secret thing that I didn't know about.
And it does feel thin enough. Grab just a biscuit cutter, dough cutter. You can use a little bowl, trace around the bowl with a knife, or just push into it real hard, whatever works. I'm going to take my little roller, put this down. I beat 1 egg into submission, or with a fork, whichever.
So it's the yolk and the white
And the
all
white on
together.
this one. Yep, I'm going to use this as the glue. Hold that together. Sealed it nicely. Making little guys, look at that.
Interesting. And then do you throw it in?
It's going in the oil.
Oh, this is not what I expected at all. Yeah, I was going to say, how are you going to get that bad boy out of there?
With tongs.
How do you know when it's done?
When it's a little light brown, it'll get darker.
So I guess you can only do one of these at a time?
No, I have 4 rows.
Oh. I'm going to get close on that roller action. That's so interesting. This is not at all.
Didn't think they were this involved, did you? You just ate the cannoli thinking, yeah, this takes like 5 minutes.
I'll be honest. I've lived in really Italian neighborhoods in New York, and a lot of the Italian pastry cooking in particular is kind of a mystery to me. And I just enjoyed it. I never felt the need to answer the mystery.
Yeah, well,
But now here I am.
now you know.
I used to live in Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn, right around the corner from Cannoli's Bakery, from Moonstruck.
Oh, nice. Hey, that might be our next food episode. We
Oh,
don't
I'd
know yet.
totally do it. When I was a girl in New York, I'd come home from work because I was really young when I lived in that neighborhood, and we would pass by Cannoli's Bakery, which was open till 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And at 6:30, which was about the time I would get home, all the bread was discounted to 25 cents.
Nice.
So I would go get a loaf of bread for 25 cents, and with a little bit of butter, that was dinner for a lot of years. Because we were broke.
Yeah.
Now you're just putting stuff in there.
Yeah. Why not? It's not done yet.
So you just keep looking at it to see which one's
really
brown. So you can see
So they went in 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So I know the order in which they went in.
Yeah,
so I
and
know
you
which
can
one
see
is
the one that went in first is definitely the browner.
Yeah. But I think I could fry up all the little extra pieces, which means you could cut these into little squares or little rounds and just float them in there like discs. Put them on our paper towels to absorb the excess oil. And then we'll just pipe a little bit of cannoli filling on that. Sounds like you might not need the fancy tubes,
I'm all for that.
right? And I'm all for using the excess dough because you can't really roll it out a lot. It'll just get tougher and tougher and tougher, and then you're making sweet cardboard, and nobody wants that. So once it gets rolled out, that's pretty much all you can do. This one's not big enough to make another cannoli, but I can dice it up and make some little squares.
I'm going to be really fascinated to see if the little squares work out for us. I imagine they're going to be shorter cooking time than the cannoli tubes, right?
A little bit. Although once that metal gets hot, everything's
pretty
the same
fast.
thickness. It's going to fry at the same amount of time.
So
Beer break.
if you were going shopping for these things, do you actually ask for cannoli tubes?
Yep.
Okay. Because they serve no other purpose. Oh, look,
Cannoli
Mama
forms.
bought something.
I've had these forever.
Oh, okay. It's not like you went out and were like, we're going to make some cannoli.
This
There
looks
it
like
is.
This one wants to be done. We give that just a
Cool.
minute to cool before we wrap it in a towel and twist it off of the form, and then we'll wrap another one in.
So we didn't grease the forms or anything? Because it's in grease, I guess. So why would you need to grease the forms?
I don't know if it doesn't let go. We'll find out why.
What does your Italian grandma know to do that you are not doing?
2, they said. They said grab 2.
Who's they?
I'm glad these paper towels come in half length so that I know that every mess I have is at least a whole paper towel bit long. Now I always need 2. Look at that.
That turned
Voila!
out beautifully.
It's clean.
So can you kind of turn that towards the camera so that people can see what happened there?
Look at that.
Wow.
Right?
You can see right the way through that.
And these are going nice and fast now. Leave it there for a minute. Let's
Yeah,
not-
no flipping the hot grease around.
Yeah.
That's
Isn't it
amazing.
cool? All right, let's do another couple of the more floating ones. These aren't going to be pretty, but they're going to be delicious.
That's all I care about.
Right.
I'm definitely one of those people that I like really good street food. Like it doesn't have to be like 4-star plated.
Yeah.
So I've seen the mini cannolis, and I imagine that's just
A
use
smaller
a smaller form, smaller circle.
Yeah. You can see on the tubes that there's room. I could have, if I had a bigger cutter, I could have made a full size, the size of cannoli that's kind of a meal.
Well, we're gonna have more than one here. I feel very sure about that.
Slide off. Easy peasy. Voila.
Lovely.
How about I just pick them up with a paper towel?
But I bet those are hot too.
Okay.
So
That would, yeah, it could be.
let's make good decisions that doesn't require you having to go to the emergency room.
Next one, in we go. We have our 2 little chippies. First 2 are done. Those go on the paper towel. Look at that.
I'm very excited about those.
Yeah, me too. I think all Italian grandmas that make cannolis at home have no feeling in these 2 fingers. I'm betting on that. Pretty sure.
That's what they pick up hot things with.
Yep.
We're in no hurry, Chef.
Okay.
Because I imagine you want to let the shell cool because you wouldn't want to put the inside in there when it's hot.
Yeah, it'd have to be absolutely room temperature. Oh, one of them undressed.
Ooh, that means it could be like a cannoli.
It's turning into a puffy taco cannoli, which is kind of funny. Not against it.
I'm just gonna show what that
so
looks
it's over
like.
there. It means I didn't
That's
seal
so
it
interesting.
with the egg wash well enough, and I didn't crimp it down. It just was like, you can't make me wear clothes, and it whipped them off. So there we go.
That's so interesting. And I bet the shells that did adhere are kind of that same puffiness inside, but it just got a little contained.
Right.
Interesting. This is all making perfect sense.
I'm gonna fry up the rest of these little bits, and then we'll let them cool. And then when it's come time to fill them, we'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, we fried everything up with some hits and some misses and some little weird bits. But when we show you all of them, this would be a good one.
Beautiful.
Pretty.
And I did taste one of the little shards. It was really delicious.
This would be one that didn't have enough egg wash, so it made like a cannoli taco with a little poofy taco action going on. And then our little bits look like that, and they got too poofy also. So I think my verdict is, you maybe use that one, little pipe on top, is that, yeah, get the tubes. Totally worth it, because that's gonna make the most usable cannoli, and here we're gonna fill them now. Ziploc bag.
This is your trick, your pastry chef trick.
Sure. Fold the top down so it doesn't get all gummy in the part that you gotta touch with your hands, get all sticky. We're gonna go down to the bottom.
And you kind of want it all to be in the corner, right?
Yeah. It'll get there.
And about how long do you think that stuff was chilling in the fridge?
45 minutes.
Okay.
You know how the dough had to rest in the fridge and this had to rest in the fridge? I would say make both of these things the day before and then bring them out, and they will both be perfect.
All right.
That's what I would prefer to do the next time. Otherwise, it just seems like you're spend half your day doing this. Okay. Ta-da. Now, what we want to do is put this back up and get the air out of the bag. Just like that. Boop. Okay. Take one corner.
And I imagine you want the hole to be a little bit bigger because you are filling it up quite a lot.
I am.
I mean, because it's not like decorating a cake, right?
Right. Yeah, I snipped like a ½ inch.
Okay.
Take this guy.
Don't waste it.
Of course it did.
Don't waste it.
Now, instead of trying to shoot through the whole cannoli, we're going to do this half, turn it around, do that half.
That seems like it makes a lot of sense.
See? Some things I do make sense.
Beautiful.
Not everything. But
All the things that have to do with food make total sense.
this half, then that half. Some for later. Of course. Why not? Oh, these look amazing. It's going to be great.
I'm very happy about this. This is going to be my dessert for dinner.
Yeah. Like, make a cheerleader pyramid.
All right. Do we need to do all of them, or can we
Nope,
send the
let's
people
make
out
a
into the
cheerleader
world?
pyramid. You can keep your pants on.
I'm just saying. Do you have anything interesting to say?
No, I'm making a cheerleader pyramid.
Will you put the
cannoli.
chocolate chips in one?
I will in about 2 seconds. Oh, I have something, a chocolate chip clogging everything up. So, like,
That was like a little poopy pants.
it happens. All right, enough of that.
Put the chocolate chips on. Leave the gun. Take the chocolate chips. Oh my gosh, so easy.
You know, right? If you chop them into tinier pieces, this would be better, but whatever.
Oh no, it worked perfectly. Oh, I don't know what you guys are gonna eat. I'm gonna eat fried cheesy goodness.
Cram Will is in your pie hole.
Oh yeah, baby.
She knows she wants to.
I've got no shame in my game. So first of all, I'll just let you guys look at it. Look at
There's
it.
one of the puffy taco ones.
And then kind of like now perspective wise,
We'll do one of
it's
these.
like it's charging Duke. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh. That's really good. Crunchy, delicious. Say goodnight, Gracie.